I am Antonio Sala, and in this video we are going to try the experimental heuristic trial and error tuning of PID controllers, and in particular we will discuss the proportional plus integral PI control for a first order process in order to get zero steady state error without an unacceptable gain increase. And well, in particular, in order to show that excessive gain may give some problems, we will simulate a dominantly first order process, the process you see on screen, to start getting the intuition on what happens in real processes in which, okay, more or less they are first order, but they have unmodeled dynamics. In this first video, we will just discuss an academic setup with no saturation, everything being, perfectly linear. We'll see at the end that there are some drawbacks with some overshoots and some influence of saturation that will be sorted out with so-called 2 degrees of freedom and anti-windup in a sequel video devoted to this advanced PID tweaks. Okay, so let's go. If we recall previous videos in which we were discussing only proportional control for a first order process, we were simulating this block diagram. We had a process, we had a controller, and we had some measurement noise, and we had also a step input disturbance that somehow stole some unexpected power from me, so the process under no control drifted away from the desired value. And we also had a step reference to see how it was tracked. In the videos here we will not consider saturation, but in real life saturation is an important issue, limiting the speed to reach a given set point and also giving me some problems with integral action. But as I said, the detail on that issue will not be considered in this video, and also we may have an adjustable input offset in order to better, reach a given operating point. We did some things with it in proportional control, but in here that input offset will be automatically computed by integral action, so we will not need it. So in this video, we'll end just simulating this. Okay, so let us input our process to MATLAB. We will define the Laplace variable, and we will put this transfer function. This is it. So we have a dominant time constant slow 2, so that settling time will be roughly 6. We have a dominated time constant 0.2, 10 times faster. That in principle should not affect my dynamics, unless of course I want closed loop behavior so fast so that the settling time interferes with the dynamics with time constant 0.2. I mean, if my settling time is slower than, let's say, 1 second, then that dynamics is no longer negligible. We'll see it just heuristically. I mean, the thing is that even if we put here some modules and we analyze the poles and whatever, that's because, I am biased towards theory. The motivation of this video is that, okay, I may have my true experimental plan, let's say, or a nonlinear simulation model, whatever, that I didn't obtain a transfer function, and we must be able to tune my PID controllers by just trial and error and a few rules of thumb. I mean, that's the way technicians with no university background do in real life. There is no need of knowing who Laplace was to be able to tweak a proportional integral controller, at least in easy plans. If you have fifth order unstable stuff, then okay, maybe call the experts, but these non-oscillatory dominantly first order dynamics must be very easy to tune. And that's our goal. So let us start our PID tuning application, which I call PID control. Here I have it. Then let us load that plant from workspace. And remember that in here we have in blue the actual controlled output, which of course, now that the controller is off, it does not respond to setpoint changes, but it does respond to the step disturbance input at time 10 in an unacceptable way, so we need closed loop control. In the bottom plot, we have this red horizontal line, which will be our manipulated variable, our control action, that of course the controller is switched off, so it's 0. Then let us first play with proportional control. So we increase the gain, we increase the gain, we increase the gain, and we see that of course the higher the gain, the lower the steady state position error, and well, the faster the transient duration. For instance, with 1.5 gain, well, we see that we start to saturate. There is a difference between ideal and saturated behavior. I will, for the moment being, switch saturation simulation off. Okay, so we say that, for instance, in open loop, this fine dotted line, it takes around 6 seconds, 3 time constants, to reach steady state, roughly. But here, with this gain, it takes, 1.5 seconds. So this looks good. But okay, we have some error. Then if we are in the proportional only arena, then we should increase the gain to get lower error. This is it, and maybe we can increase it a little bit further, say to 5 up. In here, when we increase up to 5, the error diminishes, but we see oscillations that if we thought our system was first order, this could not happen from theoretical considerations. But okay, in practice, every system has unmodeled vibration mode, parasitic energy storage, whatever, model dynamics. So no real system is perfectly linear first order, but it may be for our purpose, in the sense that, okay, if I increase the gain a lot more, we see clearly a lot of oscillations, and the high frequency is resonant with wildly amplified here. So for very fast performance, proportional control will not be valid. But, well, imagine that we come back to lower gains and we see that, for instance, up to this gain, we have a non-oscillatory behavior, and in here the transient, instead of 6 seconds, it takes basically 1 second. So we accelerated my process 5 or 6 times, and we still found a non-oscillatory transient as first order theory predicts, because, oscillations must be second order or higher. Well, the thing is that if I am happy with a closed loop settling time of 1 second, 1.5 seconds or something like that, then I need to look no further. Of course, if I wish a faster dynamics, then I start getting oscillations here, so I maybe need to think in other options. In other videos, we will kill oscillations with derivative actions, but in here, we see that, let's say, with this proportional gain, 2.3 or something like that, oscillatory behavior does not appear, and settling time of 1 second roughly is very good for me. So if I am happy, the only thing I need to do now is correcting the position error. And in fact, maybe in practice, my settling time is limited by saturation, in the sense that even if I wanted a faster response, if saturation turns in, the thing is that I cannot move so fast my process, and then my real settling time, let's say, will be 1.52 seconds, let's say, instead of 1, because I cannot move my process faster. So the only thing I can do with my available power is accelerating my transient from 6 to 1.5, let's say, settling time, accelerating 4 times my transient, and then, in that case, the second order oscillations, whatever, do not show. And, my gain, I may be happy with a gain of 2, let's say, because, I am saturating and I cannot move things much faster. So good. I will switch saturation off for the moment being, so my dynamics will be faster if setpoint increments are smaller so that we do not saturate, such as in this case. In here, the thing is that, okay, let us imagine we are happy with this settling time, and the only thing we wish to do is correcting the position error, and that's what integral action is made for. Let me first think on slow integral actions, maximum integral gain of 1, and then, well, if I increase a little bit integral action, we see that, well, it starts correcting, also with disturbances, but okay, this is not enough, correction is too slow. Higher integral action, higher correction to the zero steady state error predicted by theory, more and more, then, well, you know, for instance, now we would have a perfect, let's say, set point change response with no oscillations in 1.5 seconds, let's say, to the perfectly right value of my controlled variable. So this is good. Downward set point then, but, well, you know, for instance, in this ramp behavior, well, maybe it's kind of sluggish, I don't know. And in fact, you know, this disturbance response, it's kind of slow. It takes 6 seconds for the error to be corrected. So somehow, if in open loop my process took 6 seconds, the disturbance response seems to take also 6 seconds, even if my setpoint response is kind of ideally perfect. So if we wish faster steady state error attenuation in the disturbance, then we need to increase our gains, either increase the proportional one or increase the integral one. Let's see, if I increase a little bit the proportional, well, it seems that the peak is a little lower, but correction is still takes, 5-6 seconds. So let us increase the integral one. And indeed, we see that increasing the integral action, the disturbance correction is faster. So I can increase up to 1. Well, now I am onto the 3 seconds, the time it takes to correct. Well, if I put the maximum gain of 2, then okay, now it overshoots a little bit on the other way. Then okay, maybe with a gain of, let's play like this, 1.5, let's say. The disturbance rejection behavior seems to be good enough for me, in the sense that, okay, my open loop drifted away and it took 6 seconds to go very far away. In closed loop, the maximum drifting, the maximum deviation is very small, and in 2 seconds from the step disturbance, I am back to the operating point with 0 error. So this is a very good disturbance response. But, well, now here we have kind of an excessive overshoot of my set point response. So, well, kind of this is not optimal for reference. So why is this overshoot happening? Well, because if I have a lot of integral action, then in this region, I mean, the integral of the error is, the area of this part of the curve. Then that multiplied by the integral gain, Ki, gives me the extra offset, let's say, apart from the proportional action, B is 1 here. Well, the integral gain and the Kc. Okay, so the thing is that if the integral gain is too high, then this accumulation is too high, and then we accumulate too much integral action, too much error, and then we overshoot. If I decrease my integral gain, we accumulate less, and less, and with this gain, we hit the perfect sweet spot in set point tracking, in the sense that lower gain achieves a slow correction of the error, it takes a lot, and higher gain achieves overshoot. So, this will be the sweet spot for set point tracking, but then I have a slow disturbance rejection, and then we see that there is a trade-off. If I wish better disturbance rejection, then I have worse overshoot in set point tracking. So, well, we will sort it out with the so-called 2 degree of freedom stuff in a sequel video. We'll move this slider like this. But in here, we are in the academic basic PI tuning. Well, we have this kind of trade-off that, of course, if I diminish the proportional action, it seems that, well, I am not correcting that overshoot and the disturbance rejection gets worse. So back to our original proportional action. If I increase it, I still have that overshoot and the oscillations become more prevalent. So yeah, well, kind of this is the best we can do in disturbance rejection, but then setpoint tracking, then okay, unless we use some of the tweaks we will say in second video, maybe we wish an intermediate setup in which we take a bit longer to correct the disturbance, but we overshoot a little bit less. Well, okay, you may execute the app yourselves and play with these proportional integral gains until, okay, I am happy with this response. So this will be our final academic PI tuning, and in a sequel video we will aim for a better disturbance rejection performance and some extra tweaks to diminish this overshoot. And in particular, if I switch saturation on at this moment, wow, we see that this overshoot is exacerbated when I have saturation. This is called integrator windup. So we definitely need to correct for this. But that anti-windup and setpoint pre-processing will be left for the sequel video. So we end up here. Summarizing, in this video we showed how to tune a proportional controller for a process which was dominantly first order, and we saw that the oscillations that appear because it was not actually first order were not important if my objective was just accelerating 4 times, let's say, the closed loop transient with respect to the open loop one. This was, let's say, the best proportional tuning we had, but we have steady state error that is corrected with integral action, and then we have kind of an optimal integral action for setpoint tracking, this one, but disturbance rejection is defective. We have a kind of optimal integral action for best disturbance rejection response, but then we have a bad overshoot in step reference changes. So, well, unless we get into some advanced tweaks, we need to trade off setpoint overshoot versus the time it takes for the disturbance rejection to go back to the operating point. And well, of course, there is a theoretical justification of all this with, poles, root locus and whatever, that if you are a university student, for sure you are going to see it in your control theory classes. But, well, we did it here with just trial and error tuning, and, well, you may download the app and play at will to get the intuition on the effect of these gains. So for the moment being, we end here. Thanks for watching, and get ready for the sequel video with the extra advanced tweaks.